Hey guys, in this video we're going to look at the outrage against Chris Rock's comedy special, the way Selena Gomez has angered her fans, and Rebel Wilson dissing Meghan Markle. First up, everyone's talking about Chris Rock's controversial new special Selective Outrage. It's Netflix's first global live streaming event, but that's not the reason why it's hit the headlines. Chris has commented on the Oscars slap in his other stand-up shows. But this time he goes on a savage tirade against not only Will Smith, but his wife Jada Pinkett Smith. There's no other way to put this, it was absolutely brutal. He starts off by saying, "I'm going to do a show tonight without offending anybody. I'm going to try my best because you never know who might get triggered. People always say words hurt. Anyone who says words hurt has never been punched in the face." Chris saved his other jokes about the slap until the last 10 minutes of the show, but that was when he completely unloaded. He said, "You all know what happened to me, getting smacked by Suge Smith. It still hurts. I got a summertime ringing in my ears. But I'm not a victim, baby. You'll never see me on Oprah or Gayle crying. I took that hit like Pacquiao." But instead of focusing on the slap, Chris puts Will and Jada's relationship on blast. He said, "Smith practices selective outrage. Selective outrage because everyone knows what the F happened. Everyone really knows that I had nothing to do with that. I didn't have any entanglements." An entanglement, for people that don't know what everyone else will, is that his wife was effing her son's friend. Chris then said that he has no idea why two talented people would put something like that on the internet. He points out that everyone in Hollywood talks smack about their open relationship, but Will waited to reassert his masculinity until he could attack a smaller, weaker man. Since the events of that night, Chris has said that people asked him why he didn't hit Will back. In response, he said, "Because I got parents. You know what my parents taught me? Don't fight in front of white people." But a lot of his criticism obviously falls on Jada. He claimed that she was the one who started the incident because she hurt Will way more than he hurt him. Chris also claims that in 2016, she pressured him to quit his job as host of the Oscars in solidarity with Will because he didn't get nominated for his movie Concussion, which is ridiculous when you think about it. But the Smiths were far from his only target in the special. The comedian also hit on a wide range of topics in the first 50 minutes, including reproductive rights, racism in America, gender identity, and wokeness. And this is where the title of his special comes in. Chris says, "I'm all for social justice. The thing I have a problem with is the selective outrage." He said, "It's the kind of people who play Michael Jackson songs but won't play R. Kelly. Same crime, one of them just has better songs." The comedian also makes it clear that he resents privileged people and has very little sympathy for someone like Meghan Markle. He said he was unmoved by her complaining in the Oprah interview and said that she shouldn't be so shocked by the prejudices within the royal family. Chris also delved into his own romantic life post-divorce and said, "I'm trying to date women my age, which is 10 to 15 years younger than me. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I didn't get rich and stay in shape to talk about Anita Baker. I'm trying to F Doja Cat." Selective Outrage was his 6th stand-up special and his 2nd for Netflix after 2018's Tambourine. But for most people, this special really gave them what they wanted to see, Chris being completely open about his side of the Oscar story. In fact, it was such a highly publicized disaster that the Academy has now implemented a new crisis team for the upcoming event in order to stop it from happening again. The CEO, Bill Kramer, said, "It is our hope that we will be prepared for anything that we may not anticipate right now, but that we're planning for just in case it does happen. These crisis plans allow us to say this is the group that we have to gather very quickly." The Academy's president, Janet Yang, also admitted that they dropped the ball by waiting too long to respond to the slap. She said, "I'm sure you all remember we experienced an unprecedented event at the Oscars. What happened on stage was fully unacceptable, and the response from our organization was inadequate." Although no one knows exactly how these crisis teams would have been able to respond to something that happened so quickly, they obviously want to prepare themselves if it were to ever happen again. You could also call that the Will Smith effect. But the good news is we only have to wait 1 week until this year's awards. Moving on, Selena Gomez has gotten herself into a bit of hot water with her latest message. The singer took to TikTok on Sunday to beg her followers to be kinder to people online. In the first post, she thanked her fans and wrote, "I love you all so much. I'm deeply grateful for each and every one of you humans. You make me unbelievably happy." And in the second post, she said, "Please be kinder and consider others' mental health. my heart has been heavy and I only want good for everyone. In that message, she almost sounds like she's condemning all the hate that's been directed at Hailey Bieber, because it's obviously gone very far at this point. But even though she might have good intentions, a lot of people don't see it that way. In response to the post, fans wrote things like, "Oh, now she cares about mental health," and "praying for Selena Gomez's downfall." One user tweeted, "It's so easy to come online and tell your fans to be nicer after you practically set the world on fire last week." In response to the post, influencer and Twitch streamer Michaela called Selena the biggest manipulator and said her fans just eat it all up. Another user agreed and wrote, "Please be kinder and consider others' mental health." Well, why doesn't she take her own advice, because she considered no one when commenting consecutively on 7 different TikToks, including hate accounts on another woman and getting 4 other women dragged too, and family members who were minors. When you take a look at the arguments against Selena, most of it is people accusing her of playing the victim and getting her fans to send hate to Hailey Bieber so she didn't have to do it herself. Some even went as far as accusing her of waiting until the bullying reached its peak before she stepped in and said something, all to try and look innocent. But does this have any truth to it at all? Well, one thing that Selena has in abundance right now is fans, and everyone knows that. Since the feud started, she's gained more than 10 million followers on Instagram, making her the most followed woman on the platform. Hailey, on the other hand, has lost a combined total of 1 million followers on social media. She's lost around 800,000 on Instagram and more than 300,000 on TikTok. Next, there is evidence that Selena went on a commenting spree where she seemed to support her fans who made videos attacking Hailey. In one TikTok where one of her fans said, "Does anyone else just feel really bad for Selena Gomez?" In a TikTok, one of her fans said, "Does anyone else just feel really bad for Selena Gomez? Like, can you imagine going through a breakup so publicly with a guy that you were in love with for like 7 years, and then 2 months later he just marries someone?" In response, the singer commented under the video saying, "That made me cry, thank you." In another TikTok, a fan said she was officially supporting Selena after all the mean girl bullying she's been receiving. The post called out the 2 women as bullies, and Selena just commented, "I love you" under the video. Then she did something a little more obvious. A video resurfaced of Hailey in 2017 when she was a host on Drop the Mic. When Taylor Swift's name was mentioned, she was seen pretending to gag. Now, this video is pretty old and it could be considered a joke on Hailey's part, but Selena assumed that she was being dead serious. So she left a comment under the video saying, "So sorry, my best friend is and continues to be one of the best in the game." But here's a $1 million question. Did Selena know that by commenting on all of these TikToks, she was encouraging her fans to attack Hailey? Was it really all that calculated, or was she just defending herself? We all know that Selena's fan base is 10 times the size of Hailey's. So was it that surprising that they pretty much took over the internet? Regardless of her intentions though, she's clearly trying to put a stop to it now and get her fan base to take a step back. This feud seems like it's been overwhelming for her too, and she's since decided to take a break from social media. In an Instagram post, Selena wrote, "I'm 30, I'm too old for this." She said, "I'm very happy, I'm so blessed, I have the best friends, the best fans in the whole world, and I just couldn't be happier." So at this point, she seems like she just wants the drama and all the bullying to die down, because it's obviously gotten way out of hand. Next up, guess who had a bad experience meeting Meghan Markle? It was Rebel Wilson, and she lived to tell the tale. During a recent appearance on Watch What Happens Live, she recalled the time that she ran into the royal couple in Santa Barbara, but interestingly enough, she got a very different vibe from both of them. She spoke about how Prince Harry could not have been nicer, whereas Meghan, on the other hand, was standoffish. She said Meghan was not as cool, she wasn't as naturally warm. But Rebel thinks the reason she was cold was because her very Australian mom was asking her all of these slightly rude questions like, "Where are your kids?" which might have made her uncomfortable. The actress joked with her fellow guest John Oliver that the couple might have been thinking, who are these annoying convicts from Australia? Apparently she met Harry and Meghan through a mutual polo player friend, so she's somewhat more acquainted with them than you might think. But as you would have guessed, her story seems to have the internet divided. One user tweeted, "The way Rebel Wilson first laughingly said that Meghan wasn't warm to her, jokingly setting the tone for some cheap laughs and anti-Meghan sentiment, and then brought up that her mum was rude to Meghan instead of speaking the other way around is peak caucasity." Another person wrote, "Such misogyny towards Meghan Markle. Just really a bad look, Rebel Wilson. I hope everyone starts asking where your child is when you go out. You should apologize, rude is not okay." A lot of people pointed out how outrageous it was to expect Meghan to always respond with kindness, no matter what. Someone tweeted, "Hold on, Rebel Wilson's mum asked Meghan Markle rude questions, and now Rebel is prattling on about how Meghan wasn't naturally warm to them?" There's a lot to unpick here, but let's start off with the fact that you can't expect someone to be welcoming when you are rude to them. But this is not the first time that Meghan has been accused of being difficult. Former staffers at Kensington Palace have come forward claiming that they were bullied by her while she lived there. It was so bad that 2 senior royal members of the palace staff were allegedly forced to leave their jobs. The couple's communications assistant at the time reported the behavior back in October of 2018. The complaint said, "I'm very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year. The treatment of them was totally unacceptable. The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights. I remain concerned that nothing will be done." In June, Buckingham Palace announced that they had investigated the incident, but those findings have remained private. In a book called Courtiers: The Hidden Power of the Crown, several members of staff then came out labeling her as a narcissist psychopath and claimed that Harry and Meghan played them. Apparently, they also refer to themselves as the Sussex Survivors Club after they stopped working for the couple. In response, Meghan said that she was saddened by the attack on her character, particularly as someone who's been the target of bullying herself. In her podcast last year, she hit back at the claims again when she insisted that being particular is not the same thing as being difficult. Quote, "You're allowed to set a boundary. You're allowed to be clear. It does not make you demanding. It doesn't make you difficult. It makes you clear." In terms of her being assertive, she said, "I think a high tide raises all ships. We're all going to succeed. So let's make sure it's really great because it's a shared success for everybody." So from her perspective, she's just a tell it like it is person, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. So what do you guys think about this latest story? Please let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.